There is so much that our children need. They have to be computer literate. They have to be able to speak fluently. They have to be able to write, to think critically, to be creative. They have to do so much more than just read, add, and subtract. But when I travel the country doing stories about the real lives of real people, I find a general situation that is getting gloomier and gloomier, and education is a big part of that gloomy picture. We talk about how essential it is to get bad teachers out of the classroom, and I couldn't agree more. But even as that becomes a heated topic of conversation, it turns out that we're firing teachers by the scores of thousands, not because they're incompetent, but because state and municipal budgets are hemorrhaging. The public schools in Hawaii were actually closed 17 Fridays in the 2009-2010 school year for budgetary reasons. Similar sad stories are coming out of school districts across the country. California has cut billions of dollars from its education system, including its renowned network of public colleges and universities. The chief of the Natomas Unified School District in Sacramento County described a state of affairs that ought to be seen as an abomination in the United States in this day and age, but which tragically is becoming ever more common. This is what he said. We made the decision to close our 8 elementary school libraries with a heavy heart. But our budget situation is so dire that we had no choice. We've also cut all of our health aides, eliminated busing, shortened our school year by 5 days, increased K-3 class sizes to 30-to-1, and issued layoff notices to about 30% of our teachers, classified staff, and administration. That tells me that the grown-ups don't care much about the students in that school district. We've got trillions for the endless wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, but we're closing school libraries and shortening the school year. Somebody ought to recognize that there is something really gravely wrong with that. The Associated Press was blunt in its reporting on this matter, saying, this is a quote, "As the school budget crisis deepens, administrators across the nation have started to view school libraries as luxuries that can be axed rather than places where kids learn to love reading and do research." When you start dismantling the public schools and driving teachers from the classrooms and closing libraries, you damage, and in many cases you cripple, the lifetime prospects of untold numbers of pupils. You leave them behind and you lose them. And to my mind, in the United States of America, the richest country in the history of the planet, that is unconscionable. We can't even keep the school buildings in decent shape. To take just one quick egregious example, a section of the Maytown Elementary School in rural Maytown, Pennsylvania was built in the late 1920s. There's a time clock in the ancient gym that was donated by the class of 1946. In that school, teachers can't mount smartboards in their classrooms because of asbestos encased in the walls. I was told that the asbestos was not dangerous as long as the walls are not disturbed. The electricity in the schools is not reliable. A teacher who is using, say, an overhead projector has to make sure that other teachers are not using similar devices at the same time, as that might cause an outage. When I was typing that, it was Freudian, it must have been Freudian, I typed outrage instead of outage. There is no air conditioning in that school, and there is no money to replace this decrepit school itself. So we need to start setting the bar higher in a lot of places. We need to reimagine the entire system of American public education. We need a wholesale transformation of this system from the broken down post-war model of the past 50 or 60 years, which is so clearly inadequate, that model, to the demands of our 21st century world. I spent a little time in North Carolina last year with Bill and Melinda Gates, who are investing billions of dollars and a lot of their energy in an effort to spark not just change, but a transformation in the way American youngsters are educated. Their efforts so far have yielded mixed results, but their focus on education is hardly misplaced. As Bill Gates told me, our performance at every level, primary and secondary school achievement, high school graduation, college entry, college completion, is dropping against the rest of the world. This has serious consequences, rather neatly summed up by Melinda Gates. As she put it, America's long history of upward mobility is in danger. The education issues that we face in this country are really tough, and they can be maddeningly complex. The ethnic groups with the worst outcomes in school are African Americans and Hispanics. As you well know, the achievement gaps between these groups and their white and Asian American peers are already large in kindergarten and only grow in many cases as the school years pass. These are the youngsters least ready right now to travel the 21st century road to a successful life. But these are also the youngsters who so often live and go to school in poorer districts that are taking the brunt of the budget cuts and other setbacks associated with this dismal economy. And there are many districts in which a good portion of the population is aging and predominantly white, and taxpayers are less than enthusiastic about supporting a public school population that is largely poor and Black or Hispanic. All of our challenges have to be overcome, and they can be if we can find the will. Teaching Matters is doing its part, and one of the most important things to take away from its successful, creative, groundbreaking work is that this kind of progress in educating our youngsters can in fact be made. It's doable. I can't tell you how important it is to get the word out that we can make the kind of progress that we need to make, because otherwise people get discouraged and they don't even want to try. We can take that same hopeful message about these things being achievable from the many successful schools serving students who come out of difficult circumstances, whether they are charter schools or really well-run public schools. And Teaching Matters knows something about that as well. It's doable. But we have to bring many, many more people into this effort because there are so many more children who are not yet getting the benefits of a decent education. I'd like to think that events like this one here today, where the message goes forth in a sane and constructive and cooperative way, brings us a little bit closer to our long-term goal of a system that provides a first-class, well-rounded education to all of America's young people. It's not just their futures, but the future of our society that is at stake. The future of the very idea of America as we've come to know it, an idea that most of us have come to cherish. JFK said, "A child miseducated is a child lost." We might say the same thing about a country. Thank you very much.